Hi, everybody. I'm Annie, and I was lucky enough to be the 2018 recipient of the Klingenstein Educator Award, and I am so thrilled to be here today presenting the award to this year's winner. For anyone who was in the audience last year for my acceptance speech, let me reassure you that this time I will not make any on-stage costume changes. The Klingenstein Teacher Award is presented annually to an exemplary EL education teacher who is judged by their peers to have most successfully conveyed to students the essence of EL education culture, building exemplary character, driving outstanding academic achievement, and instilling the ethics of citizen scholarship. Each year, a selection committee composed of past nominees, finalists, and winners gathered to attempt the next to impossible, to cull through a stack of nominations from all over the country to determine which candidate best exemplifies the Klingenstein Educator Award criteria. This includes the teacher who instills in students the desire to learn and take responsibility for their own education, and who achieves academic results, inspires students' participation in good citizenship in the broader sense, as well as inside the classroom, the school, and as a part of the greater community, models the value of we are crew, not passengers, in their classroom and school. As challenging as a task as this always is, this year the selection committee has chosen its winner. The 2019 Klingenstein Educator Award from Leaders High School in Brooklyn, New York is Sara Boeck Batista. Woo! Lee Klingenstein. Lee Klingenstein and his daughter Jo recently visited Sara in her classroom, and we're delighted to see that we can go from a K-1 teacher in Denver, Colorado that has a magic wand to a high school teacher, social studies teacher in Brooklyn, and both of them, like all of you here, working for social justice. I'd like to share a few comments from Sara's nomination materials. Her colleagues at Leaders write, Sara is the loudest adult voice in our school, always advocating for instilling a love of learning and responsibility for learning in our students. She has been a crew leader, twice shepherding two groups of 15 to 18 students through their 4 years of high school, helping them determine the best course of action after they graduate, including the college application process, how to pay for college, and what kind of job they might want to pursue. The patience and dedication of Sara as a crew leader is inspiring. She has helped her students overcome personal tragedies, supported them through their accomplishments, and helped them make important life decisions. One of her former crew kids, a recent graduate of Skidmore College, says this of her. Miss Boeck was one of the first people I met who showed me what it was to be a strong, powerful woman with a kind heart. She reminded me every day that self-love was important. She was always honest and caring with me in and out of school. Without her guidance and strength, I wouldn't have been able to find the courage to pursue my dreams and allow my voice to be heard. Sara, let me be the first to offer you two things. First, my congratulations and sincere admiration and awe for the amazing work that you are doing with your students. And secondly, to pass the metaphorical torch, and in this case, literal magic wand, in recognition of your fearless feats and generous acts of kindness, as well as the magic that you create in your classroom every day. Please join me again in congratulating the 2019 EL Education Klingenstein Educator Award, Sara Boeck Batista.
Good morning. Thank you to the Klingenstein family, Jo and Lee, and the selection committee of outstanding EL teachers for this great honor. I'd also like to thank my wonderful colleagues at Leaders High School in Brooklyn, who are the most dedicated, smart, compassionate, hardworking bunch of people I've ever encountered. I also want to say thank you to my family and my partner, Pedro, for his unending love, patience, silliness, and consistency that has made my life infinitely easier and happier. It is odd for me to be standing here today in front of everyone. I'm honored and humbled to be a representative of all the remarkable, dedicated EL teachers in America. I also feel entirely undeserving. The catch-22 of teaching is that no matter how well we do it, it perpetually feels like it could have been better. And it's true. Teaching is relentless work, never done perfectly. And the more you know you don't know. This year marks my 11th year as a New York City public school teacher and my 16th year working in schools. I came to New York City from Minnesota in 2009 and started teaching in the Bronx and found myself at Leaders High School in Brooklyn in 2011. I have been truly lucky to call Leaders my home for the past 8 years. It is a wonderful place because it's full of people trying to do the right thing for kids. Leaders has allowed me the autonomy and development as a professional to be able to mold my classroom into a space where students can analyze the world and I can learn along with them. This freedom felt most important in 2014 when the highly visible deaths of Michael Brown and Eric Garner at the hands of white police officers reached grand jury decisions that shook our lives and our classrooms. My students were hurt and confused. They wanted to know why someone who looked like them could be killed and no one was held accountable. This was the first in a long line of incidents which made my students question their value in our world as people of color, young people, and immigrants. It became clear that the space I had carved out for my students was not enough for them to truly work through the world we live in. Since we're in this together, to make space for them to deal with this, I needed to start with myself. About a year ago, I accepted an invitation to work through Layla Saad's book, Me and White Supremacy, with a small group of white people committed to anti-racist work. This work asked me to do something that I was resistant to and afraid of, to name and take ownership of the ways that white supremacy lives inside me. In my thoughts, actions, assumptions, attitudes, in how I treat others, how I view the world, in what I consider to be normal, good, virtuous, and how that impacts those around me, in my classroom and outside. This work, inspired by my students, changed my teaching and changed my life. For years, I had been proud of my attempts to make my classroom one that addressed social justice. But my students' suffering in the face of current events made me finally ask hard questions about myself. What was my real priority in my classroom? For me to feel that the work we were doing was important? Or for it to actually mean something productive and tangible in the lives of our students? Was I centering my own experience? Or truly creating space for students to know themselves, the world, and develop a new paradigm? These were the questions I had been avoiding for years. And this was the reflection that I needed to do to be a better educator and white person in America. I want to talk specifically to the white educators who are here today, and there are plenty of us. We need to do better. We can't stop learning, questioning, listening, and thinking about who we are, where we are, what we are doing, and why. This means that we have to be deeply, courageously honest with ourselves. We cannot ignore the historical legacy of indoctrination that our field has carried and continues to carry within it. We need to face our deep, hidden internal biases so that our students can truly be leaders of their own learning, free from the burden of following a pathway that we have carved out for them. My students taught me just how important it is that our classrooms allow them the space to make meaning of the world. We need to have the self-control to allow students to create a new world that is unfamiliar to us, to make our world a better place that can heal our planet, honor the dignity of all people, repair the harms of the past, and break down the walls between us and those in need. We've all had the opportunity to learn from one another over these past few days, to push our thinking, consider new strategies, and identify better ways of doing what we do. As we walk out of here today, united by an understanding of what is possible for creating a better world through education, we must also face our power and our place in history as leaders of our classrooms and administrators of an educational system which does not create equitable or just outcomes for all. We each get to leave here today with the opportunity to continue our journey of self-discovery and learning in our own contexts. Finally, during these challenging times, I want to end with a big appreciation for all of you, for the work you do, for your dedication to equity and social justice. Our work has never been more needed and more important. Thank you.